Voltron, I'm gonna need you to promise me something for season 4, which is never have Shiro do a Swedish accent ever again. Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron.
And I'm Michelle.
And this camera is way too high. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Yeah, there we go. Cool. And this is our post-Geekout reaction for... God damn it, now it's over there. And this is our post-Geekout reaction for Voltron Season 3. This show gets less professional every single week. Oh, but yeah, so if you guys have not seen post-Geekout reaction before, it is not a review. It is more of just our open, honest discussion about the thing that we just watched, and that doesn't include full spoilers. So if you have not seen Voltron Season 3, then tune out now. Although, it's on Netflix. If you were going to watch this at all, you've probably already seen it. It's been out for a week. But, yes, I was expecting this to be longer.
Yeah. It's like a half a season.
It really was. Even the season finale, it feels like the mid-season finale, where it's like, we're going to reveal something, but not actually resolve anything. So that way, you can all kind of have a better understanding for when you come back in 2 months for the second half of season 3. And I heard someone saying that the next part of this comes out in October. So I don't know if they're actually considering the next part of this to be season 4 or the second half of season 3.
We'll find out.
I would totally be fine with them just considering it the second half of season 3, because this was it wasn't a weak season in terms of what happened, because major stuff happened, but it was short. It was only 7 episodes long. Like, it was barely longer than Castlevania was, which that was my big complaint with Castlevania. I love those 4 episodes of Castlevania, but it was all like Act 1.
Yeah.
It was like, and now the team's assembled.
Yeah, it was like a
Come
prologue.
back next year, everybody. Yeah, like apparently, by the way, I didn't get to do one of these for Castlevania. We are going to talk about it in October for Thorgy-Ween, so stay tuned for that. But I did find out that apparently this was based on a script for a Castlevania movie that Warren Ellis wrote. And when I say based on, apparently they just took it and just translated it directly into being 4 episodes. And I was like, you want it to end there as a movie? And they're like, well, yeah, we wanted it to be like a Lord of the Rings thing. Whereas, like, okay, now the team gets assembled, and it's gonna be this big epic thing that goes on. It's like, yeah, I totally understand why this did not become a movie. Why, like, a studio would totally look at this and go, are you out of your fucking mind? We're not doing that. No. We're not going to, like, take that big of a risk where we don't have anything get concluded at the end of a full-length movie just because we're promising people we're coming back with more, which means we're going to dedicate that much of a budget to a thing that might not even work. I totally understand why that did not work as a movie. But I did love it as a show. Just, yeah, man, not nearly enough happened in those 4 episodes. It was all just setup. This one, stuff happened, so it was better than that. But, yeah, man, it felt light. Like, they crammed as much into those 7 episodes as they could. But, man, this is like half of what we got last season, so this had better just be like a first half of a season kind of thing. But as I said, they did actually have important stuff happen in there, and stuff that I was kind of guessing would eventually happen, because I know almost nothing about the original Voltron. I never watched the original Voltron, but I did know a few things that were different than what we got in this one, and one of the things that I knew was different in the original one is that Keith was the pilot of the Black Lion, I believe, and Lance was the pilot of the Red Lion, and the pilot of the Blue Lion died, and then Princess Allura took over that. Like, I knew all that. So I always found it interesting that this didn't match up with that at all. Like, Shiro's a completely original character. So when Shiro disappeared at the end of the last one, I was like, okay, so Keith can then become the pilot of the Black Lion, which means I guess Allura would then become the pilot of the Red Lion, even though that's not matching up with the old one. So when they had him become the pilot of the Black Lion, and then Lance couldn't get into his Blue Lion, I was like, oh my god, they're going to move everyone around. They're going to shift everything over. So I actually thought that was pretty cool. And I love the explanation for why Lance can now pilot the Red Lion. It's that the Blue Lion, it was more of like fluid, more just kind of doing your own thing, more kind of just being free. And the Red Lion, it was like the second in command position.
Yeah.
It was the lion who looked out more for the team rather than themselves. So Lance kind of accepting, hey man, I'm not the best person to lead this team. It's definitely got to be Keith. I thought that was a good character moment for him, and him now getting that position in the Red Line, it kind of like opened up for that. However, I don't get then by this version of Voltron's definition of what the Blue Line is, I don't look at Princess Allura and go, well, you don't seem to match that. Like, it almost seems like she does match the Red Line more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, she tried piloting the Blue Line and it wasn't working. And then she goes, well, I just had to think like Keith to get it to work. And
Lance.
Like Lance to get it to work. And I was just kind of like, what exactly did you do to think like Lance? Like, there's a funny little moment in there where she's trying to hit on the line. It's like, oh, okay, that's cute, that's fun.
No, I think like the thing is like she has to learn that she can't be in control of everything, and that she has to like learn to go with the flow, and that's how she learned to accept the Blue Line learned to accept her when she learned that she can't control everything.
I get that. Okay, cool.
Because like you said, the Blue Line is about going with the flow.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like water.
Yeah.
So okay, I guess I can understand that then. Because she did have to have that moment where she kind of like gave up control, I guess. Yeah. I didn't really quite get that scene that much, but I mean, I think I get what they were going for with it. I also kind of dig that Allura is like learning to control the line faster than any of the other pilots, because that would make absolute sense because her father created the thing, and like these Earth kids have no idea what any of this stuff is. She knows what all this stuff is. It makes sense if she learned it quicker. So I was like, all right, that's cool. And it led to like a really good moment when Lance confronted Keith when Shiro came back. He was like, well, Shiro's going to become the Red Line, the Black Line again, and you're going to become the Red Line again, but I can't take the spot from Allura. She's maturing way faster at this. She's way better for this job than I would be, so I'm not going to have a role in this anymore. And I was like, that was a really good moment for his character, because he had never really shown that kind of, like, depth or that kind of doubt in himself for. Like, the only real moment is, like, at one moment he was like, am I really the sharpshooter on the team? I thought I was the sharpshooter on the team. That's something we got last season, but it was resolved pretty quickly. It's like, that was actually really good, deep stuff. And I love the fact that he actually went to Keith about this, because they always had the rivalry, and like he always had to try and one-up Keith. And so the fact that he's actually going to Keith and saying, hey man, this is my concern, this is my vulnerability here, it does show that he is putting the team first because Keith is the leader now. So yeah, it showed a lot of growth for his character in that moment. And I really dug that. That's one of those things that, you know, you can tell this is from the Avatar guys, because they are not afraid to show character growth like that. So I really dug that. I will say, I kind of wish that they would change all their color patterns around now, just because, like, I think it would be kind of cool to see, like, each of them in the new color patterns. Plus, it's a little bit odd seeing, you know, the Red Line in the Black Line and the blue armor inside the red armor, and, like, I don't know, that's just me. But yeah, in this season, it was way more story. I'm sorry, how can I...
Story-based?
Story-based, I guess. Yeah, there were no filler episodes. Let me put it that way. Like,
well, it's only 7 episodes, so...
There's only, like, I'm thinking about how I complained that there is not nearly enough episodes this season. But when you look at, like, last season, if you take out kind of the filler episodes... You could get it down to about like 9 episodes. You could get down to like something around there. Problem is, my favorite episode from last season was one of the filler episodes.
Yeah.
It was Space Mall. I love that episode. And like, it feels like this season was kind of missing some stuff like that. It was missing kind of the fun one-offs, which again was another thing that the Avatar guys were known for. Like, they were like always on a course to a destination, but they weren't afraid to stop somewhere and kind of have just some fun in a moment. Then again, Legend of Korra was very direct every single season.
Yeah.
Every episode of Legend of Korra was very much, we go from here to here to here to here. If we want a fun, goofy thing, Bolin's gonna be a movie star, but while he's doing that, we're gonna have our characters doing this.
I kind of felt like Legend of Korra was more like at a risk of being canceled or like ending.
You know what? That's a fair point.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're only gonna do like 1 season and that's it, and then suddenly, oh hey, this show's really popular, we're gonna do more seasons.
Also, wasn't every season of Legend of Korra shorter? Like, I feel like maybe I'm just guessing that, but I think every episode of Avatar, every season of Avatar was like 20 some odd episodes, and I think every season of Korra was like 13, 14. Maybe. I might totally be wrong on that one. But yeah, we're not going to stop to look that up. But yeah, it's, again, it feels like that was one of the things that defined Legend of Korra more, is that was like, we got to get from point to point to point to point to point to point. Whereas Avatar, it wasn't afraid to have like an episode where they just stop and like watch the play. But again, those were some of the best episodes. So yeah, this one, it was far more story-based. It was a lot...
More direct?
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Jeez, I'm out of it today, guys. I was up late last night. So I kind of have to applaud them for that, but at the same time, as I said, the filler episodes, the Avatar guys make some of the best filler episodes, so it was kind of missing like that fun one-off moment. This was a far more serious season.
Yeah.
But at the same time, even though I am upset that it was so short, this season fixed a couple of the problems I've had with this show so far. And one of my major problems with this show has been the villains. Because the Avatar guys always made great villains. Like, every single villain in Legend of Korra, every single season, the villains were amazing. Like, I know everybody praises the original Avatar and goes, nothing will ever replace that. But as good as, like, you know, Azula was in there, the Fire Lord himself was kind of just the big final boss guy. It really was just Azula was the main villain in there. Legend of Korra, every single season, the villains were top notch. And in this show so far, it's kind of just been the Fire Lord all over again, except there's been no Azula. It's just been like, what's his name? The big boss guy in this is, I actually had this one prepared, Zarkon. I'm never going to remember these names, I'm sorry. But Zarkon, yeah, he is just the big, like, I will destroy him. And when they gave him the backstory in the previous seasons of like, oh, he used to be the original pilot of the Black Line, it's like, okay, there's some depth, that's cool. What are you gonna do with that? This season, finally, in the third season, they finally stop and go, here's the origin, here's how you get to see him again where he is. So that was awesome. But what they did that was even better, they just introduced a brand new villain. We finally got our Azula this season. Like, we finally got, which, again, I'm saying that because you had the big final boss and then the guy under him who's far more interesting. That's why I'm comparing it to Azula. But also because it's their offspring. It is Prince Lotor, which, again, I never watched the original Voltron, but I've seen stuff from it. This guy, I swear, they just copied and pasted him right from it, because, like, I remember there being a guy in the original Voltron who was, like, the swab, like, had the long hair, it's like, yes, quite, kind of villain, and looking at this guy, like, yeah, it's totally the exact same guy. But I love that he has his own squad of people around him.
And I love his squad. It's like,
his squad, they always come up with the best supporting villain guys. That is one of the things that they do the best. Like, again, going with Legend of Korra. In that season where, like, they had to fight, like, the superpowered, like, the Fearsome Four or whatever they were called, like, yeah, the big wing guy, he was tough. His three other guys around him were fucking awesome. Same thing in this. Yeah, I absolutely love his supporting cast. And I find it really cool that one of them is kind of gender neutral. We have no idea what they are. The one who has the cat on shore and just transfers language. By the way, is it just me, or do you think the cat is the real, like, mastermind there, and, like, the lizard, like, the big, like, humanoid-looking one is actually just, like, an empty husk or something?
I think so, too, because, like, there's a flashback, and the cat is in the flashback.
The cat's in the flashback from 3,000 years ago. Yeah, and they revealed the cat is living longer in that flashback because it's absorbing all this energy that they're taking in. So it's like, yeah, I think that cat is the mastermind that's controlling it. But, so we don't know, like, the gender of that one, but it's very clear that the other ones working under this guy are all women. And I kind of love that because it's the one male guy leading a team of 4 women. I'm assuming that or is it 4 or 5? I can't remember. Yeah, 4 women. Because I'm assuming that the cat or whoever the cat's controlling is also a woman here. Because then on Voltron, you got the one female leader leading the 4 other, like, male heroes. And it's like, I know it's a small thing, but it's like, man, if you wanted to just create a perfect, like, mirror image of, like, one side being different from the others, like, that is a perfect split right there. Plus, they're both royalty, the ones who are in charge. Like, this is an absolute perfect, like, swap. And there's so many people that you can look at on each side and go, yeah, these are the complete opposite of the guys that are there. Like, Hunk is the big guy on the Voltron team, but he's kind of a coward, and he doesn't want to hurt anybody.
And, like, he's really nice. He's and,
really
like,
nice.
Like, they literally said Hunk is the nice guy. And it's like...
And then you've got the big tank one on the other team, and it's Zarya.
It is.
And it's just, I'm the giant one, and I want to crush things. I was like, dude, it's perfect how you're matching these up. I love this. And the fact that they revealed that one of the filler episodes that they had in the last season, I was like, oh, okay, you had to do something like this, but it wasn't my favorite. Is one where Keith found that abandoned pilot, and it was someone from the enemy team, and they had to work together. I was like, okay, this is kind of a nice one, but it doesn't really feel like it leads into anything or there's any real importance to it. She's like the head squad under the prince, and I'm like, man, that's freaking perfect. Again, like, you have the royalty person up there, then you have like their sub-commander leader person underneath. Keith is the sub-commander leader on their team. The one he had to rescue and team up with is the sub-commander on the other team. Is like, it's so cool how they thought out how these people are just going to be the mirror images of each other. So yeah, that was one of my biggest complaints about the previous season of Voltron. Like, the villains are just villains. They're just there. And also, even design-wise, the villains kind of... all the villains had an interesting design for one character. And then they kind of just copy and pasted all of them over and over and over and over again. I mean, don't get me wrong. The big main villain, he looks different, and the witch who works underneath him, she looks different.
But everybody else...
But you kept throwing just different generals at us, and I was like, all these generals look exactly the same to me. Like, they all look very similar. And I love that they explain, yeah, these are weird hybrid people. These are weird, like, because this empire has been stretching out across the galaxy for generations, for centuries. Of course, they would crossbreed with other alien races, so every single person in his squad is part of these, like, hybrid, their race and the alien races, so they all look completely different. Like, they all have a few things in common, but aside from that, they look totally different.
Yeah, and that was, I feel like that's, like, the big difference between the prince and the King Zarkron. The prince, he's like, oh, we don't want to destroy everyone. We want to destroy the weak and keep the strong, so we can like build our empire. And that's why his squad has so many different alien races instead of just the Galra Empire, which is just the Galras and everything.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, I'm so glad you're here to remember these names without me having to look them up on the phone. Because I kept going, the alien race, whatever they were, Galra, thank you. But yeah. So I do love that. I also love just seeing how he does things differently.
Yeah.
Like seeing him actually go up to like other civilizations like, we want to work with you. We want to get you onto our side rather than just conquering.
Yeah.
Because like you conquer someone, they will fight against you. You convince them they want to be conquered, then that's when you rule them. It's like, man, this guy is smooth. This guy's good. But yeah, speaking of that, also like when he actually challenges the guy who was trying to plot against him there in the arena, it's like that was a great way to introduce him. And I love that he's like, yes, we're going to work together, and that's how we make this stronger. Send him out to the Siberian base. Like, it's not Siberia, but it's the equivalent. Like, you're going out to the icy deathlands to just sit there and rot. That's what you're going to do. And I love that they were just planning on like backstabbing that guy from the front, like from the start. Like that guy, man. This villain is good. I am liking this guy. Also, just seeing him like actually take on all of Voltron by himself, which granted they were disorganized at the time.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. I like that they didn't just all immediately know how to work together because Voltron is kind of powered by their emotions, and they're all in a very fragile state at the start of this, especially Keith. Like, I love that Keith just did not step up at all. Keith sucked as the leader in the first couple episodes of this. But he should have. He didn't know what he was doing. This was all new to him. He didn't even want to be the leader. He was mad that he was the leader. He wanted Shiro to be the leader, but Shiro's gone. So yeah, I love seeing the disorganization on that team. I will say one complaint that I do have about the villains team. I don't like the snarky girl on there, simply because that's a trend that I've noticed in lots of villain teams. There's always the one snarky jokester character in there. It's like, man, I'm kind of getting tired of that. And it's not that she's bad. It's just like, that's the thing I've noticed on so many villain teams. And it's gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't even know why you're here. Like, it just seems so weird that you would have like the one clown character on your team. Like,
doesn't she have like a invisibility or like disguise?
No, that was like that's the other thing. I don't even know what her power is because I think it was the one who Keith rescued, like his sub-commander. I think she
Oh,
was the
that one.
No, she was the one who had invisibility.
Oh.
I'm not about the one with the giant, like, tail thing
Yeah,
coming
like
out
I
of her
thought
head.
she had the power to like
Maybe she
blend in, because like I could have sworn like in one moment like she was like blending in with like the background, and then she popped out.
She might have. I might be mixing them up. We saw this a week ago. But, yeah, normally we do these right after we saw it, but we've been busy the last week. But, yeah, it's not that I'm saying I don't understand her powers. I don't understand why her powers would help this team. I'm saying, like, I'm just tired of that trope. I'm just tired of the... Yeah, it's like, that's a thing that, like, I've seen on so many villain teams where they have, like, the one jokey clown character in there. It's like, man, I'm kind of done with this. Like, I've just seen it too many times, that's all.
I see.
Yeah, but yeah, you clearly feel differently on this one. But that's fine. As I said, I know it's an unpopular opinion. But, let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else to talk about in this season before we go into, like, Shiro and Shiro returning.
Yeah, since that's like the biggest
That's
part.
the biggest thing. It's like, oh yeah, this was a really short season. I dig them going into the alternate reality, and as I said, I don't know much about the original Voltron, but I know that there was no Shiro, but there was a Sven.
Yeah.
So having an alternate reality where Shiro is not Shiro, he's Sven.
Sven.
Yeah,
Sven.
sorry, I jumbled my words there. But he's Sven. I was like, that's actually a clever thing. And also
Yeah.
he dies at the end of this, and Sven died in the original one. I was like, oh, okay, I get what you're doing.
Well, we
there.
don't actually like see him die. We see him get injured.
That's true. But
We
I
need
don't...
to like take him to the nearest hospital, so we don't know if he made it or not.
Yeah,
so.
but I don't know if we're returning to that alternate reality. So it's like, he might as well be dead.
Well, considering like Voltron has the ability to go through different dimensions.
that was interesting that they decided to introduce that Voltron has the power to go into alternate realities. That was kind of weird. But not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, just like, I didn't expect
interesting.
that. Yeah, okay, cool.
And it would explain why the Galra Empire wanted that comet and everything.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Well, they want that comet so that the prince can make his own Voltron.
Yeah.
Suit, which I really dig that.
And the comet came from another dimension, another reality.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think
which
that's
it was explained in the flashback and everything.
Yeah, and I really think that they did a lot to establish, like, the history of Voltron very well in this season. Not just because it showed us the origin of the original Paladins and showed us that original team, but also that stuff with, like, the whole alternate realities and getting the energy from the alternate realities. Like, okay, there's a lot of, like, deep lore that you can dig into here. I really dig that they have, like, a big scale plan for this. And I would not be shocked if we see, like, them maybe tie this into some other future projects that they might have. Like, I mean, the whole idea of, like, shared universes and stuff is pretty big right now at the moment. So I wouldn't be shocked if they end up wrapping up Voltron and then Netflix is like, yeah, what's the next project you want to do? Just do anything you want. And they're like, okay, well, let's say that, like, the comic came from this dimension and now we tell a story over here in this dimension or something like that. I don't think it will tie into Avatar. I can say that. Unless this comic came from the spirit world.
It's just gonna turn into like another giant robot anime or something, like giant mecha.
Oh god, what was that Gendy Tartakovsky one? Symbiotic Titan.
Yeah.
Get these guys to do the next Symbiotic Titan. Have just Netflix establish a shared giant robot universe.
It's like they go into the Megas XLR universe.
Oh god. Oh, don't get me excited. Oh, I would love that so much. God, I feel bad for all you kids out there who had no idea what Megas XLR is. That series was amazing. God damn. Okay, yeah, this was a short season, so let's go ahead and get into, like, the big reveal that Shiro is alive. I dug the hell out of that episode where he comes back. I love seeing, like, him, not only having to escape, but him having to find a way off this, like, icy planet. And I love the two guys who were on the icy planet. That's another thing that the Avatar guys always did well. When they did just have characters pop up for one episode, only to exist in that episode, they were darn good characters. Although it made me start thinking, you know, this is a huge ship, and they can't possibly run that whole thing by themselves. I would really dig it if all these, like, characters who they just kept meeting, and all these, like, resistance people who they kept meeting, I would love it if they just started picking up some of them and just started adding on to the cast, like having them come onto the ship and actually work on the ship.
Maybe.
Yeah, and like those two guys who they met on the ice planet, I think they would make great additions on this team. Like, not as, like, regular characters you see every single episode, but, like, guys working down in the cargo bay. Like, they have to get something from a part of the ship, and they're over there working on that part of the ship. Or, you know, like, when they're in a big battle, you'll have, like, a quick thing of them, like, manning up turrets or something in there. And, you know, every single couple of episodes, you had a new character on there, and you really build up, like, an entire cast on the ship.
Well, I thought there was going to be like the whole big get-together trope at the end where everyone like, you know, unites and fights with Voltron and everything.
I can totally see that, but like I would dig it if they were all just there on the ship. Like you don't need to like get them all to come together. It's like they can all just be there together to begin with. But yeah, I really dug seeing that. Although I will say it's real obvious that Shiro is like bugged or he's got like some kind
Yeah,
of...
there's definitely something off about
When
him.
he escapes, they watch him escape and like begin this protocol. And then like in the next episode, they're like, "Hey man, how are you doing?" He goes, "Great, but I can't get rid of this headache." I was like, "You got a bug in your head. There's
like,
something in your brain, man."
There's like speculation among the fandom that he's actually a clone.
Ooh. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I think that would make sense because once he came back, he was no longer able to control the Black Lion.
Well, I think that, yeah. Oh, I was thinking of that just in terms of like, okay, so it's passed on to Shiro, and also...
You mean passed on to Keith?
Sorry. But I kind of really dug that, like, he went through a lot.
Yeah.
He lived out his worst nightmare twice. And he had to escape from that. I viewed it more as in terms of like, he's not emotionally stable at the moment. Because like when he was there in his room just with the long hair and like he just couldn't leave the room after getting back, it's like it should have been, any other show would have had be the big climactic moment when he comes back and like, yay, Shiro's back, yeah, we're all together. Instead, they kind of played it in a very real way where it was like, is he gonna be okay? Like, is Shiro came back, but Shiro didn't come back. That's how they played it up. So I didn't view him not being able to control the lion anymore as a like, okay, he might not be himself. I viewed it more in terms of just kind of like, he might not be himself, is what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, he might be, this Black Lion needs to be the leader of the team, and at the moment, after everything he just went through, he's not emotionally stable at the moment.
Right, and like if you notice in like the past seasons, like Shiro has like obviously suffered from PTSD.
He's got PTSD, yeah.
So yeah, it's like even though like I feel like the Black Lion knows that his heart is in the right place, but after all he's been through, maybe his mind needs to rest.
Yeah, exactly. Although I do like this, he's a clone theory, but I was also thinking like it could just be like
he got hacked or something.
Kind of like that, like the Black Lion, like because remember half of his arms is a robot arm that he got from the Galra. I can see like the Black Lion just kind of like reading that arm and just being like, "Nah, man, something is wrong with this."
Yeah, like that was like our complaint in like the first season or so. It's like, oh, the Galra is able to track Voltron because Shiro has a robotic arm made by the Galra Empire. And it's like, no, that's not what happened at all. It's like, oh, okay then. So I guess maybe when they got him, they actually like put a tracking device in his arm.
It would totally seem apparent, but he does specifically mention, "I can't get rid of this headache."
Yeah, so
I
maybe
think there's something in his head.
Maybe
he's got like a plate in there or something. Although yeah, I guess another thing about it, I don't think they did any kind of like a bioscan. Like they didn't give him any kind of a checkup or anything. I don't think when he got back. So I was like, yeah, it seems like that's something they should have done. But. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think it's more of like, he's definitely like been hacked. He's definitely got like a bug in his brain. He's definitely got something in there, and he's going to have to fight that off or something. But I think the reason why the Black Lion will not let him control him is because he's just not stable enough right now. Like he is not in a good place. But I also think that this theory about him being a clone, I think that's pretty awesome. I think that could be a great reveal. But yeah, because he just disappears.
Yeah.
After. Like it was not a thing where, well, then again, because if he is a clone, how does he have the memories of that final fight with Zarkon? Because there was nothing there. Like he faded away into the ship, which I read that as like basically the comic book equivalent of him joining the Speed Force. basically, like, if the Flash runs too fast, he just disappeared into all the energy that makes up speed powers in the universe. I kind of read it as he went too far into Voltron's power, and now he's kind of like exist within the Paladin universe or whatever. Like, he now exists. He's in Valhalla, basically, for Paladins. That's how I kind of read it, because there was even an episode earlier where he does kind of go into this weird cosmic state, where he kind of like views like the plane where all the Paladins exist or something like that. It was something like that. I'm summarizing it kind of poorly, but you guys remember it. There was an episode where he kind of like goes into the astral plane. It's like, that's what I think happened. I think he just dissolved into that. But if he was a clone, where would they be able to pick up his memories from that fight right before he disappeared? Like, it seems like he wouldn't have any of the memories before, any of the memories after he was captured the first time, because they would have to get DNA from him the first time he was captured. But they could figure out, it's a super sci-fi space race. They could figure out some way to do it. Like, if they came in here and said, I wouldn't question it too much. Yeah, anything else to really talk about? Because I feel like we need to go into way more details, but yeah, man, it was only 7 episodes. Yeah, I got nothing else.
I like how the prince is like a hybrid, like he is Gara and Altarian, or not, what was the princess?
Oh wait, is it confirmed that that's the other race that he's part of?
I thought so, because the witch was...
Well, yeah, that's the thing, we don't know specifically who his mom is.
But like their husband and wife.
But when was this kid created? Because she forgot that she was the wife of Zarkon. Because they had just been like so consumed by this dark energy that she completely forgot that they were husband and wife at one point. So if this kid was created like centuries ago and it's been like that dark energy keeping him alive, yeah, he would be like the child of the two of them. However, if he's like, if he, you know, he looks like he's what, like 20s, 30s, if that's how old he is, I don't know if he would have been their child. So I don't know specifically what he could be. But that is a reveal that we didn't talk about, that the witch was his wife. And I was not expecting that, because I expected it to be a thing where like he lost his wife and that's what pushed him over the edge to become a villain or something like. So I find it way better that it was more just like his need for like stability and rule, his need for like stability and law and order became corrupted by this dark energy until it became a need for I must rule the galaxy. So I think that's way better. And also it was her need to study this.
Yeah.
Like basically the dark energy just corrupted everything about these people. So her need to study this, that ended up like turning her into like, I will just delve into all these dark powers and serve my master here.
Yeah, like for me it was like, to me it looked like a drug addiction.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
I mean, she does get kind of cracked out looking.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, and like, that was honestly, like, scary. It's like, oh, damn, this really is, like, someone's with a drug addiction suffering from withdrawal. She was, like, twitching out and everything. It's like, I need more in order to survive. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is definitely...
Yeah, exactly. It was definitely supposed to be something kind of along those terms, like, the dark energy has taken them. Yeah. They are lost to this.
Yeah.
But I am really intrigued what is going to happen now that she remembers that she was his wife, rather than just some witch serving underneath him. Because now that they have their lost memories back, I wonder how that will change the two of them. It does seem kind of odd that they decided to resurrect him so quickly, because it doesn't seem like we got to see enough of the prince just yet. Seems like, but then again, I understand that if you want to do that at the end of season 3, it just doesn't feel like this should have been the end of season 3. In fact, even the fact that, I mentioned this earlier on, but even the fact that the thing that happens at the end of the season where we get the history of Voltron, that's a great mid-credit ender. Mm-hmm. That's a great thing that you end before your summer break and then you come back with brand new episodes. It doesn't feel like the thing to end a season on, though.
Yeah.
Like, because when you think about the previous couple seasons and how they ended, it seemed way bigger and way more dynamic, especially how the last season ended. But yeah, so I still think that this was a strong season. Just not enough of what I would have wanted.
Like a strong half season?
It's an amazing half season. That's why I can totally say It's an amazing half season. It's just, man, I wanted more. And that's not necessarily a bad thing to leave you wanting more. And also, this came out quick after season 2. I didn't think we were getting this for like another 6 months. So if they keep updating it this quickly, even if it's only this many episodes, that's not such a bad thing. But yeah, so let us know in the comments down below what you guys thought of Voltron Season 3. And if you want to contact us on Twitter, Twitch, or Tumblr, you can just look up Professor Thorgy. So I got the name on everything. Yay! But thank you guys for tuning in, and come back next time. Bye.
Bye.